started
With
this
the
whole
mic.
thing.
Yeah, the mic.
Okay, I think we're ready to begin. First off, welcome to the inaugural launch of CayFilm. Before I introduce my guests to my left and right, I just want to talk briefly about what this is. CayFilm is an umbrella company that's going to be doing, first off, an annual international film festival. It's going to be a 4-day event beginning next June, June 18th through 21st of next year. We're also, our second aspect of CayFilm is a film institute, a school that we've already started actually a pilot program with UCCI with 12 students this semester with the goal of training young Caymanians to be able to, A, make their own movies, but also be able to support and be an infrastructure if we can start bringing down some big Hollywood movies to be shot here. Meanwhile, the film festival is going to be an international film festival where we're going to be looking at films from all around the world. We already have a great board of advisors, and as you can see, some wonderful support from Hollywood. So I'd like to introduce, we have Counselor Joey Hugh, we have actor Terrence Howard, director John Chu, we have Jason Feltz, and Renee Regal from Virgin Produced. Everyone's going to be speaking a little bit before the film, but I thought maybe for just right now, we can just say a few words, if everyone can just kind of maybe talk a little about kind of what a film festival might bring to Cayman. And we'll start, maybe Councillor Hugh, would you mind?
Sure, no problem. Thank you. Thank you, Tony. I will do so formally later on, but are we on?
Yeah, it's on.
That's fine. We'll do so formally later on, but I'd like to welcome our visiting guests from overseas. Welcome to our beautiful island. It is certainly a pleasure to have you here. And to Tony and all his staff, I can see that we're off to, or the crew, we're off to a great start already, and I'm looking forward to a fantastic evening, as I'm sure it will be. Being new to the political arena, I started a campaign from the ground up just over a year ago, and one of the first things that struck me when meeting with constituents, and in particular the young people, was the amount of talent that we have on the island that was not being tapped into. They were not given an opportunity. They didn't have a place that they could go and express this talent that they had. And I would walk through the constituencies, and I would find young men on the stairways making the most amazing compilations of music just using a laptop with a broken screen. I would find guys filming things just using their iPads or their iPhones. And I started to do a bit more research and realize that we have a lot of talent. We have a lot of talent away at school. We have a lot of talent here on the island, and we have a lot of talent that are currently being employed or have had to leave home to go and seek employment overseas. And it really opened my eyes to a lot. I have a 16-year-old son that I'm constantly being told is artistic. It's something that's very, very, very foreign to me. I grew up playing on the iron shore and in the ocean, and football was the only artistic thing we did. So it's a very foreign concept for me, and I decided to dig into it a bit more and realize that there is a lot of opportunity here in the Cayman Islands for the film industry. We have a lot of young people who are interested, talented, certainly have the ability to take advantage of any opportunities that we would provide for them. And once taking office, I started to call around. I started to meet with people in the industry, and Tony's name came across my desk. Someone called me up and said, would you like to meet with him? I said, sure. We went and had a coffee, and Tony told me his vision, and I thought it was exciting. I went back to the ministry and asked questions and found out that several years ago this vision could have started, but it sat on the desk. No one took the initiative to get it going. And so I called Tony back and I said, Tony, good news and bad news. I'm going to support you 100%, but I have no money. So, so if you can pull it off without any financial support, I will give you all the support that I can give you from the government. And here we are. We're here today getting ready to launch what I believe will be one of the most successful ongoing events on the social calendar here in the Cayman Islands.
Thank you, Counselor. I'd like to say a few words. Oh, let's get that over there for you.
It's a big mic. A little heavy, too. My name's Terrence Howard. Whether it's known or not known, over the last, I've struggled in this business for 30 years. And I use the term struggled because it's always a struggle to express yourself creatively. Sometimes it's a struggle to find the forum or an avenue that you can create and have it exposed. You have to remember there's a wonderful woman named Leo Russell who made a great statement. She said that everything that we have in this room today, whether it's a chair you're sitting on or the camera you're using or the clothes you're wearing, they were all created by an artist initially. And then they became commercialized. So every expression of mankind is artistic in its nature, but there's so much frustration when you have so much beauty around you and so much of an impetus to do something, but you lack the opportunity or the avenue. So the CayFilm International Film Festival, the initiative to give young artists an opportunity to be able to expand and a forum in which to show their creative gifts is something that's going to benefit the Cayman Islands in the most amazing way. These children, and I say children whether they're 50 years old or 20 years old or 4 years old, it's going to give them an opportunity to grow and participate in the human experience. And I am so thankful for Virgin for bringing me down here. I'm so thankful for the Cayman Islands for the hospitality they've shown me over the years. My wife and I have had the most amazing time here. But what I'm most thankful of is being a part of the opening of something beautiful that's going to take place here. And I encourage everyone to participate just by lending, whether it is your money or an idea to a young artist, or 20 minutes of your time in directing a young artist so that they will be able to grow the way they're supposed to and fulfill their destiny in this universe. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Wow. I don't know if I can follow that. Other than everything you just said, I totally feel that's something that I grew up as a shy kid, youngest of 5 kids. I was like the observer. I did a lot of stuff. I loved to draw. I loved to play. I loved to play instruments, but I was never great at any of them. And so I would sort of draw back into the background. And it was on a vacation. I remember with my family, and I was in charge of the video camera, not too unlike a place like this that was sort of inspiring and had an energy to it. And I would take the camera, and rather than shoot my family, I decided to shoot a little mini movie with my brothers and sisters. And it was ridiculous and crazy, and I had to yell at them to actually do stuff in it because they wanted nothing to do with it. But when I got home, I convinced my dad to buy me this little editing machine from Sharper Image. It's like $200 thing. And I took a lot of work to try to convince him to do it, but he did it. Yeah, exactly. VHS to VHS. It's pretty amazing. Yeah. It's an artistic choice. Come on. Anyway, so, and I showed them the movie, and my parents started crying when they saw it, and I was like in 3rd grade. And I knew from that moment on, this was something I could speak with, that this allowed me to get things outside of my body that I couldn't in any other way. And so for me, it saved my soul. And it was a paper and pen for the first time in my life. And it's really important. To me, a story is extremely important to tell your story, wherever you're from, however you're from, whatever your desires, your dreams, your fears. And so when I come to a place like this, and I can feel the stories in the air, and I can feel the people that I've met have been amazing, and you can feel what that the opportunity is right there to expose more people to their stories, I think is an amazing, amazing opportunity. So I feel so honored to be here with all of you guys here to help support this a great cause and to encourage and promote stories here, because I know how freeing and amazing it can be. So thank you for having me here, and I can't wait to see what comes out of this festival that I'm sure, even if it's something that a kid watches or encourages someone to actually make a movie because they see that poster on the pole. And I remember doing that at USC, of seeing those posters and being, oh, I got to make my film. To me, that makes all the difference. So.
They rarely hand me microphones, so this is a rare thing. But first of all, I want to thank Terrence and John for coming down. They're great friends of Virgin and of Richards, and we've worked with both of them, and will continue to do so. And for them to come down here is a great thing. For me, this is really really personal. I've been coming to the Cayman Islands since I was a kid. I have a significant network of friends down here and business colleagues, and to see the emergence of the arts down here grow from the very first time about 7 years ago, where I wanted to shoot a movie down here. I was a young producer prior to Richard Branson asking me to run his entertainment arm, which I still question every day. And I was running around this island like a madman, trying to figure out how you can make a movie down here. And what's the infrastructure, and what's the, is there any governing body? Is there any film commission? Is there any film festival? Who do you talk to in the government? Who do you talk to in the private sector? And I finally started to I met all parties who were in office at the time, and from the private sector. And one of the things that really was came out of my exploration of trying to figure out how to make a movie down here was meeting an incredible amount of individuals and kids, who are talented, and artists, and not just artists who wanted to make movies, but painters and musicians, and getting involved with junior achievement, and just sort of seeing all the different and exploring all the different touch points here on island has been a great thing. And to see Tony and Roberta and Robin put together CayFilm and introducing it to the island and to the world is a huge deal. And the Cayman Islands as a world-class destination is perfectly positioned to really make its mark. It doesn't need to be Cannes Film Festival. It doesn't need to be Sundance. It doesn't need to be Tribeca. Those all have their own identity that started small, grew as a kernel into what they became, and CayFilm can do it its way. So I'm really honored to be down here. I love the country. I'm building a home down here, so I'm going to be spending more time down here. I apologize in advance. Yeah, exactly. No. I'm going to turn it over to Renee Regal, who is actually, in every film company, whether it be a production company or a studio, it's not one person. And Richard Branson, who founded Virgin in the 70s, will be the first to tell you that it's not about one man. It's about the team, and to surround yourself with people who are really good at what they do, because you're not necessarily good or know everything about everything. And Renee's one of those guys inside of Virgin. From a creative perspective, he's behind the development of a lot of our content, both film and television. And so I've been dragging him down here now for the last couple of years. I made him run in the marathon, and I'm getting him involved. So I'm going to turn it over to him, and then I think we could probably move on to the festivities.
Great. Amen. Thank you, Jason. I'd just like to echo the same sentiments that it's great to have John and Terrence down here. It's a great honor to have them down here. It's also a great honor to be invited down here for CayFilm and to lend a hand to really launch, I think, what is a beautiful initiative. I, as Jason said, have had the pleasure, real big pleasure, to come down here the last 3 years. I think this is my 5th trip, and have just fallen in love and been so enamored with the culture. I myself am from neighboring Puerto Rico, so we don't brag about it too much, but and so again, a really distinct culture. And when I come down here, I get really inspired. And one of the things to echo, I think, both from a creative and a narrative standpoint, what Terrence and John were saying is, our business is really rewarding, but it's also a big struggle. So you have to find those moments of inspirations and those moments of, creative victories. And I think one of the things that's amazing is when you can get together in a location as inspiring as this, in a country as inspiring as this, with your fellow peers in the creative industry, and get away from kind of the noise of the business and really get back to the roots of why you love it in the first place. And that's, creativity and exchanging of ideas and being inspired by each other's points of view, and really just, sharing and telling stories in the narrative. And one of the things I think that's great is the initiative for finding and nurturing young filmmakers, because I can say myself, that's what got me inspired when I, was basically jumping in the business to tell stories. And I think one of the most inspiring things is when you're working with young filmmakers and aspiring filmmakers or musicians or anybody that's creative. I think part of that process is you get so much more in return yourself, even though you've been in the business a long time and maybe understand the process, but you learn a lot by inspiring these kids and just to see the talent. And I think it's really great that what the country's doing here and what CayFilm's doing, and it's exciting, especially in a place that's so inspiring. So thank you for having us down, and we really look forward to launching this.
Thank you, everybody. We're now going to adjourn to the festivities that should be starting up any minute. Of course, the press, you guys are invited to stay. We're also going to be showing Two Faces of January, and we'll talk about that inside the main theater.
I'm sorry, we have no time for any more questions. We'll be back.